All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Mr. Vane Reviews podcast. My name is Kyle, also known as Mr. Vane, and with me, as usual, is my co-host James. Hello, James.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing great today, and yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good too, thank you.
Awesome. All right, today is the ever-anticipated episode where we review Avengers: Age of Ultron. But first, we want to go over some news stuff, because that's what we do on this show, and there's actually a fair amount to talk about. But right now, there's only a couple of things, but we'll talk at length about them all, because a lot has been released in regards to the Suicide Squad movie, which is one I'm excited for, because I have a lot of the new 52 Suicide Squad books, and they're awesome. Like, I was surprised at how much I could enjoy the anti-heroes that they've built with this group. And so when they announced a movie, and it's actually going to comes out next year, it's one of the first movies to come out in this new DC lineup that's supposed to compete with the juggernaut that is Marvel Studios. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and so they just released pictures of almost the whole cast, the whole Suicide Squad group. It's lacking Amanda Waller, but I guess she's not the biggest part. So we got the pictures. You can look at them all right now, and the characters listed there. What do you think of the group as a whole? Like, does this look like your Suicide Squad?
It looks like my Suicide Squad. It looks great, except for that person right in the middle. Harley Quinn.
Talking about Harley Quinn.
And she looks so boring. Oh my. How did they ruin one of the most interesting people? She looks so dumb. She looks like she's
all right,
a beginner cosplayer, if you will. One of those people is like, I'm Harley Quinn, everybody. Sure you are. Sure.
So you can look at those pictures and or those people, and the names are there too. If you had to pick one, because I've already got the first one picked out, it's the Suicide Squad. It's not named that because they're just crazy. It's named that because the missions are suicidal, and there's a really high chance at least one person's going to die. In fact, in that Assault on Arkham animated movie, they kill somebody right off the bat just because Amanda Waller can. So if you had to look at it, who would you say is the most disposable right now?
Oh, wow. Let's see.
Ooh, who's gonna die for sure?
That white person next to Harley Quinn.
You think Rick Flag, the leader of the group?
Yes. Leader of the group? I'm sorry. What happened to Deadshot being leader of the group? I don't know a lot about these comics, but I think he's gonna die, so that way Deadshot will become the leader of the group next time.
In that animated movie, Assault on Arkham, and in the New 52 books, Deadshot is the leader for the vast majority of it. But when they were planning out this movie, in the older comics, Rick Flag does take the lead a lot. He's got all the military leadership experience, so they just kind of give it to him because that's the guy you give it to. He has the most experience. He'll do the best job. Yeah. I mean, it's the Suicide Squad, but they still want to succeed. So it was supposed to be Tom Hardy, but he actually ended up turning down the role. And so
why? To do Mad Max?
No, I think he was already done with that. I didn't look into it because it didn't seem like a big deal. I mean, Tom Hardy's great, I guess. I mean, I didn't love his Bane, but a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
But he would have been fine. But I mean, Will Smith is a big actor, notably right now the biggest actor in this ensemble. So yeah, I could see him taking it. What do you think about Killer Croc there?
Killer Croc, that is some amazing makeup. Oh my gosh, he looks so good. He's not computer generated, right? That's just all cosmetic.
It looks like it's cosmetic because he's a lot smaller than I would picture a Killer Croc being. Because in the games, comics, and animated movies, he's actually really, really big.
Yeah, he's huge.
In there, he's bigger than everybody else, but he's still kind of human-sized.
He looks good. I thought they were gonna ruin him or not make him as stocky, I guess you can say, buff. Jeez, that face.
They also had, it hasn't been confirmed or disapproved or whatever. They also had King Shark, who's supposed to be in there. He's like this humanoid shark. He can talk, sort of, usually when he's had enough meat. Human meat. But he's not in the picture, and they haven't, like, confirmed him, although they did have an actor that everyone assumed would be him. But he's not there. I do like the far right there, El Diablo. He's got pyrokinesis powers, and his tattoos eventually fade as he uses up his abilities, and then they slowly come back, as he recharges or whatever. But, like, the pictures, like, the tattoos on him, everything looks comic book accurate, and actually a lot of these characters do. Katana there, the only one kneeling down, like, that's her mask. I don't know if she'll have the soul blade like she does in the comics. It might make her a little overpowered.
See, everyone looks so cool.
Yeah, I think Slipknot there on the end, he seems like a guy. That's my number one pick for disposable.
You think he'll die?
Yeah, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, mainly because it's Will Smith. I don't think they'd ever kill him off. Harley Quinn, Enchantress, those are all big names that I don't think they'll get rid of. And El Diablo's on the Suicide Squad in New 52 for a really long time, so I think he's safe. Killer Croc, I don't know. I don't think they'll kill him, but...
They might just get rid of him or something.
Yeah, it's possible. They could kill off half these characters and then just bring new ones in for a sequel Suicide Squad movie. But right now, with the whole slate they've put down, this is the only one. So, I mean, for all we know, they killed them all.
Harley Quinn looks so bad. Oh my gosh, I can't get over that. It makes me angry. I am angry. I didn't want to be angry.
It's entirely possible they could change it. I mean, we were just... another Suicide Squad character that's been shown. They've been leaking images repeatedly. Not leaking images. They've been showing him, like, Jared Leto, who will play the Joker. They did one, I feel like it was months ago, where he was taking a picture in front of a mirror. So he has the cameras turned, and so it looks like he's mimicking the Killing Joke cover of the book, and it looked pretty cool. He had dyed his hair green, but he was still just kind of, he had his regular colored skin, no tattoos, no makeup or anything, it looked like. Then he did another one a little while later, and then there was this leaked photo of a photo. So somebody was taking a picture of it on their phone, and somebody had taken a picture of that phone, like from a distance. You could barely tell, but you could see the like a really bad quality picture of the one we've got here. And so people just assumed that, like, they were going for that. And so that's another one of those images that's real popular where the Joker's, like, running his fingers through his hair and he's scream laughing or something. Whatever he's doing, he's going crazy. But this picture has not received the most positive.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash on the internet. And so Warner Brothers came out and said, all right, well, we're going to change it. Yeah. In the movie, he will not have tattoos.
Darn right. Oh my gosh, Harley Quinn looks so much better and more accurate than this freaking Joker.
Well,
look at that damaged on the forehead, really?
Yeah,
because we don't know that this guy's a lunatic already.
It got a lot of people. Most people thought that was pretty dumb. And I agreed. Usually in the comics or cartoons or whatever, he's got a suit on, and even if the jacket's off, he's got a long sleeve shirt or something. You rarely see his arms and torso.
Yeah, and even if we do, who wants to see that? No one has ever gone. I bet you, some comic fans out there have never said, "I want to see Joker topless." I want to see the man behind the clothes of purple. No one's ever said that. No one cares. It's all about that outfit, that signature purple, green, clownish outfit that is Joker. This is dumb. I like how they try to tip a hat at everyone by putting in a purple glove on the right hand, but that's just insulting. I feel insulted.
Yeah, well, they've said they're going to go back and change it, so, I mean, yeah, at the very least, I think Warner Brothers recognizes that they have they don't have a lot of competition, they just have a very powerful competitor in the realm of cinematic, competition that is the juggernaut of Marvel Studios. They've got to, at the very least, do a good job. Man of Steel did okay, but it's been years since it came out, and or at least it feels like it. And we've still got next year. We still have to wait a whole year before Batman v Superman comes out. So there's all this time for Marvel to just unload and show us just how awesome they are, or to lose that trust. But they said Warner Brothers said they're gonna go back and change it. So I think they've recognized that we've got to step up our game, and if people don't like it, change it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're leaking all these not leaking, they're showing them, they're releasing them.
They're doing a run to see how the things are and how well accepted they are. And you know what? That's good. Because if they didn't show me anything and this was what we got, oh my gosh. Can you imagine the negative feedback that movie would have had? The movie could have been great, and it would still have been regarded as awful just because of this Joker. I will guarantee that.
Yeah, so, but all in all, like, the Suicide Squad looks incredible. Captain Boomerang, he's, looks good enough. Not awful at all. Enchantress is kind of hard to see, but she's there, and, go for it. She's good. Rick Flag looks very, military with the gun and the green and the cool look. I like Deadshot. I showed you the other picture where he has his mask and eyepiece on, and that actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Better than some of the fan pics that people were releasing on the internet. I actually really like this Deadshot, and hopefully Will Smith does a good job with him. We all know he does one character really well, and that's himself. But it's entirely possible he could rock this.
Everyone looks great but Harley Quinn. Can we just admit to that?
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. She looks kind of weird. I mean,
she's not even have bright colors on. She looks, it's that Zack Snyder art style. It makes me so angry.
Well, and he's one of the leads in the whole thing. Marvel Studios has Kevin Feige and a lot of the Marvel execs. Like, if you look at the start of their shows, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and whatnot, they've got Jeff Loeb, who's a big writer for Marvel, has been for years. In fact, he wrote some of my favorite comics. I think we talked about him last time with the Daredevil stuff.
Yeah.
He did a Daredevil run. He did the Ultimates. He picked up there after they'd started several years ago, and things kind of went downhill a little bit, and then they kind of rebooted that series. For the most part, he's done really well, and so they've got him on as an executive. So they've got Jeff Johns. I'm sure they've got Mark Guggenheim, and they've got Zack Snyder coming in on this. They want a lot of these big names that they can hopefully, run with the pack.
Yeah,
that is the lone wolf of Marvel.
How do you go wrong with making superhero costumes? Marvel superheroes, they have their costumes. They look like who they are.
It's true. Well,
Superman didn't look like himself. Batman looks like himself, but it's hard to mess up that person. Harley Quinn does not. Everyone else in this photo is good, except for Harley Quinn and Joker. Ugh. Gross.
Well, in the New 52, they do have her in booty shorts at one point, kind of like what they got there.
And that's okay, but is it bright? Is she bright?
I think her skin.
No, not her skin.
Oh, I was like,
is she wearing flashy, screaming colors?
Sometimes. They changed her uniform a few times in that series, depending on the mission. And at one time, they're chasing after a guy, and they lose him, so they have to go covert while they look for him. They split up, get inside this town, and they're trying to, get away from all the attention, while other people are hunting them down, and they're chasing this guy, and so Harley Quinn, has to change her clothes to try and look inconspicuous, and it's way harder for her for some reason. Well, she's got pale skin and, purple hair or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, not purple. She looks really weird. She and the Joker have always had that pale skin look because of the chemicals that got dumped in, but it still looks worse in this picture than it, did in the comics, so, but, I mean, what are they gonna do, give her that black and red jumpsuit onesie?
Have you seen the Arkham games? Have you seen?
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen her in was that Arkham City? They did that expansion or DLC, Harley Quinn's Revenge, and she's just got this corset and booty shorts and everything. It's just oh, all right. I guess as long as nobody's using blades or guns or really anything damaging, she's good to go. Who needs protection when you're not fighting anyone? But whatever, she got a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't. I feel like the Joker's a more immediate concern than Harley Quinn is, as it seems like Rick Flag and Dead should be the major characters in this squad, and everybody else will be supporting. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
I still have high hopes for it.
Yeah, this still looks good, so let's go with it. They also, moving to a completely different comic book movie, announced that Stephen Amell, who plays Oliver Queen on the Arrow TV show, he's going to be Casey Jones in the TMNT 2 movie.
I should be excited. I want to be excited, but I don't care. I hate that movie. Well, okay, let me take that back. I think that movie is just another middle finger from what's his face?
Michael Bay.
That's the man.
Well, and he's not the only person in charge of the movie. They've got other people running it, and it still made a ton of money. It wasn't the best movie, I admit it, but it made a ton of money.
Of course it did. Kids want to see that.
Yeah, and diehard fans want to see it. They want to see this new look. Whether it looks bad or not, they want to go see it.
I know, and that's what I love about it. A bad movie, if it just, nobody knows a movie is bad, right? They just go and see a movie, and if it makes enough money, it's already a hit, despite it being bad or not. I love that logic with Hollywood.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about it. Transformers, another Michael Bay movie. They make a ton of money, even though they get just horrid reviews. But fans were screaming after this one. They said, "What we have had so many live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies in the last 2 decades, or at least one every 5 years or whatever, if you divided it evenly or something." Point being, they've never done Bebop and Rocksteady in all of these, and so fans just kept saying, "Why? Why don't we have 2 of the most iconic Ninja Turtle villains in the movies? Why?" We had Megatron Shredder, and we didn't have Bebop and Rocksteady. so Shredder is apparently coming back, which is fine.
How can he not?
Yeah, he's their major villain. And then they're going to do Bebop and Rocksteady, which I was actually happy for, because, yeah, they're idiots, but they're really powerful idiots.
If they got Casey Jones and Bebop and Rocksteady, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, they're heading in the right direction, I feel. Like, it sounds good so far, like on paper or whatever. And the only complaint about Casey Jones, because they released an image, is that he has the Stephen Amell short haircut.
So not the long hair? What?
His hairstyle will make or break this movie, right?
It will. You got to have that greasy mop on that head of his, or else this is just going to... No. It's going to flop. I'm predicting it. Hair flop of the century. Bam.
Just killed the movie. Well, they show pictures of him all online. All these people arguing one side are showing pictures of Stephen Amell from the Arrow TV show, which is fine. He's the actor. And in these flashbacks that happen in the show, he gets marooned on the island, and he, because there are no barbershops on this desert island, his hair grows long and shaggy. And people were saying, why didn't he grow his hair out for this movie? And it's possible they'll change it, but I feel like his hair doesn't matter as much as his ability to portray the awesome character of Casey Jones. Like, get this guy with baseball bats and hockey sticks and just let him kick some butt. And maybe they could get rid of the, Mini Cooper Ninja Turtle van or whatever.
Let's hope, right?
Because it just looks ridiculous. They're 4 giant turtles, and they just, pull up in this mini van. You're like, what? They have a giant van because they're giant creatures, but whatever. I feel like the second movie so far, they're headed in the right direction, and Stephen Amell's a good actor, and he needs to get out of the Arrowverse, at least, every once in a while. We can't typecast him, and he doesn't want to become that, and they said he had the best chemistry with Megan Fox, which, alright, I guess that's important because they kind of have their own love interest there, and it's better to have somebody who can actually, act with her.
I gotta give him credit. with that. I mean, it just seems like Megan Fox would be so hard to work with. It's like acting with a wall.
Oh my gosh.
She's terrible. But hey, if he can pull it off, I'm totally down for it then.
All right, yeah, so there we go. Man, there's actually a lot of other news stuff we could talk about. They released more Star Wars news. Kylo Ren will be the villain.
Who's that?
He's the guy that was in the mask that we were talking about last time, where it looked like he just took Revan's mask and said, "Haha, I'm now Darth Revan."
See, that doesn't mean much to me. I don't care about a name. I want to know who the person is. Oh, this is your villain, Kylo Hoth. I don't care. Show me who he is, and then I will care.
They haven't really released a lot of info like about his backstory. They showed some pictures of him with some of the snowtroopers. They talked about the chrome armored stormtrooper and, you know, why he's a hipster in an age where hipsters have long since died out or something. That's just what I'm calling it. Why do you need chrome armor? It does nothing.
Gotta stick out.
Oh, yeah, I'm the John Travolta of stormtroopers. or whatever. I don't know.
Star Wars, that's just... I still have hope.
Yeah, or there's CBS has ordered just a full-on season of Supergirl. They didn't even wait. They just said, you know what? With the extremely successful results of The Flash, Arrow, and Daredevil, and even Gotham did pretty well. I haven't been caught up with that one because, you know, the world before Batman just seems a lot less interesting than the world with Batman. But people have said it's good, so I'm probably going to go look into it. But I've also said that about Game of Thrones, and we're like, 5-6 seasons in, and I still haven't watched the first episode. So, but they've already ordered the full season, and so, you know, whatever. They said, hey, we're going to do this. They still don't have a premiere date, but they're totally going to do it.
I don't think it's going to do very well.
I have no idea. I really hope that it does well, and I would love to see that. So, we also, I don't remember if we mentioned it or not, Daredevil got its second season announced. It's done so incredibly well that Netflix has already ordered a season 2, and it'll be back next year.
Killing me with that. Oh my gosh, next year?
Yeah, I mean, they have to film it first, but holy crap.
But this is a TV show we're talking about, right? Oh my goodness.
Yes, it is. But
they're making it seem like a movie at this point.
Well, they've said that, or in an article that I read, that Netflix doesn't normally announce, you know, the show statistics, like who's been watching what, but they said that Daredevil reached insanely high viewing levels, so people are watching it, and a lot of people are watching it.
Congrats. Thank you, everyone, for making Daredevil such an amazing success. We will reward you in 1 year with a new season. So, you know, stay tuned.
Hey, it's better that than, you know, than being like, all right, that first season came out. Now I need to do Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and the Defenders, and then we'll do another Daredevil. Because if that were the case, it would be years before we see another Daredevil show.
Yeah.
And this one was so good, I want to see it. So I'm totally okay with it, and I'm good.
Oh, I hope. All right, okay. I'm a big boy. I can wait. I can wait for things. I can do this. I just want more Daredevil, man. I've never been so taken away by a TV show before.
It was good. I really liked it, and I'm totally excited that they're like, hey, we're gonna film this now and get you guys a second season out quick.
At least they're doing that. I'm thankful.
Yeah, so, you know, there's our superhero universe, bigger and better as we move forward.
I'm still waiting for Daredevil. to come in one of the big Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's what my next question was, do you think they're gonna try and, like, sneak him into Civil War? They haven't said anything, and I don't think they will, but I don't think it would be a bad idea for them to do so.
No, they don't, yeah, you're right.
They could totally use a lawyer, so...
Civil War is the only perfect movie that I can think of to fit Daredevil in a cameo. That's all it needs to be, is just a cameo. It's one thing to acknowledge each other verbally, but it's even more exciting to get a confirmation of these worlds exists by putting the people physically together in one scene of an image. If they can do that, if they could just be like, oh, this is Matt Murdock, he'll be your defender, that, lawyer to defend you for your innocence. Yeah, okay, cool. And it doesn't work out because, Captain America runs and away from the law, whatnot. Whatever. As long as they introduce him, why not? I just say why not. It's not going to take that much work.
Yeah, well, the biggest hurdle are the contracts. Like, the TV contracts and movie contracts work differently, and we'll talk about it with this Age of Ultron, because there were a lot of people that were going to show up. Well, okay, by a lot I mean like one or two, but there were still people that weren't in that movie that were supposed to be, and contracts limited their ability to appear. But, you know what? Forget it. Let's just move into it. Today we talk about Avengers Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie in Marvel's lineup. It's only been 3 years since the original Avengers came out. We've had, 5 movies in between now and then? Or maybe 6. I can't remember. We had Iron Man 3, Thor to the Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, which was rated the highest of them, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. So, 4 movies. Bam.
Winter Soldier's amazing.
It was, but it did a $715 million global box office gross, and Avengers is already creeping up on $2 billion. Jeez. Iron Man 3 did $1.2 billion, which is more than Winter Soldier did, but that one was, it was okay. But Winter Soldier was incredible, and it didn't do as much. It didn't make as much money, so we'll just have to say that, like, the money they make is not a direct indicator of whether or not the movie was good, perhaps just successful.
Yeah, because there's still people out there that didn't like the first Captain America and just don't like Captain America in general, that they just didn't go see the second one at all. Yeah,
but that second one was incredible.
Yeah, because on that same note, I've heard people that I know, it's like, I didn't like Captain America, and I didn't like his first movie, but that second movie was amazing, and I'm excited. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
So let's go with your initial reaction immediately after we walked out of the theater, around midnight on that Thursday night. Your reaction and recommendation for this movie. Would you say yay or nay? And what was your reaction?
Go see it. It's a movie that's worth seeing. So yay on that. I thought it was good. It wasn't... The first one was better. And I know the first one didn't have much story, but it was that feeling of, oh my gosh, this is happening. And actually it being good, even though most of it was eye candy and money shots. It was eye candy and money shots we wanted. That's all we wanted. It's like, we don't care if the story is subpar. Just give us moments that we want. And we got that. The second one was good. I liked it. It's a good story. It's worth everybody's time. There's just a few things that I didn't like about it. One of my biggest problems with it is that relationship of romance between Black Widow and Bruce Banner came out of nowhere.
Yeah, a lot of people said that it felt kind of forced, like it was just shoehorned in so that there would be a romantic relationship in this movie. Okay, sometimes in the comic books, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have a really weird brother-sister relationship.
Very weird.
And
Magneto never questions it.
It just gets really awkward sometimes, but, they weren't going to put that relationship in there because, incest is bad.
No, man. Incest is best. You got it wrong.
Okay, I guess if your sister looks like that, but no. But yeah, it did feel like they kind of just shoehorned in this romance, and they put attention on it multiple times and gave us like, oh, here's 5 minutes here, here's 10 minutes here, here's another 5 minutes. It's like, they cut an hour out of this movie, and some of the scenes seemed like they easily could have been cut out to have better stuff. But that's something that was said in this interview. Now that the movie's out throughout most of the world, everybody can talk freely, no more spoilers or whatever. And Joss Whedon was saying he had tons of ideas for this movie. So many. You know what, it's a little late, but whatever. Spoiler alert for everything. We're not doing a non-spoilery review. We did when James said go see it. Everything from this point on is spoilers. Joss Whedon said he had to fight with Marvel to get a lot of this stuff in. The romantic relationship they kind of wanted. They did not want the Hawkeye farm scene. Marvel did not. They said, get rid of it. We want more of Thor in the caves and stuff. Cause and everybody noticed that that lady that was in front of the pools in the initial trailers was nowhere to be seen in the movie.
Yeah.
And the reasoning behind that was the people who make the trailers aren't in charge of the movie. They're just,
there to make it look good. Come see it.
Yeah, they're advertisers who are just like, okay, we're going to take all of this footage you gave us and we're just going to snap out some little snippets, some scenes there that we really thought were eye-catching and would get people's attention. And this lady dropping her cloak or, coat or clothes on the floor in front of a pool is eye-catching and mysterious, and so we're going to do that. And people theorized if it was like the Guardian of Hell, like Hel, one of the realms, one of the 9 realms. And that's where technically, I guess, Odin would be, because he has been confirmed as dead. And is it Loki's mom or his wife or something? It's somehow somebody that's related to Loki is in charge of Hell. And everybody thought that it might be her or someone from Wakanda, from the Black Panther universe. And she just wasn't even there. And so they cut that because whatever. They also said that Marvel wanted some of these things and they didn't want the Hawkeye farm scene, and so Joss Whedon explained it like they put a gun to the farm scene's head and said, you will either put in this Thor stuff or we won't let you put in this farm scene. And so they put in that whole Thor scene, which didn't take up a lot of time, but also really didn't explain a whole lot. It was pretty much just to set up Thor Ragnarok and hint at Infinity Wars, which everybody knows is coming.
Yeah, there's no secret behind that.
Yeah, so Marvel wanted some stuff, Joss Whedon wanted some stuff, they had to settle, and we got the result. Which was still a really good movie, but yeah.
It was a good movie. The Thor scenes were so blatantly obvious that it was missing so much. Because when I saw it and they would cut back to whatever the action was going on, like, wait, I have questions. Go back. What's going on here? This needs to be explained, and they never explained it. And I knew they were baiting for the new Thor movie. Like, well, thanks, I guess, but...
Well, and Eric Selwig had that box, and they didn't say what was in it, or if it had a purpose, or maybe it was just, him being crazy. But there were a lot of details that were left out, and they just showed what they needed to. And it was also kind of weird because everybody pretty much got hallucinations. Iron Man got his right off the bat, and then when they were on the boat, Black Widow got hers, which, okay, woohoo. We kind of knew her origins if you watched the Agent Carter show. So we really didn't need to see that. But whatever, she needs some involvement because she hasn't gotten her own movie. Hawkeye totally blocks her, which was awesome.
Awesome. Best thing ever.
He had some good scenes in this movie. It was a really good, Hawkeye set of moments, but he totally stops her. But he's the last one she goes after. And then Captain America gets one, but it's just weird because it's like, oh, here's all these people dying out of a dance hall. Oh, there's Peggy Carter looking all 40s hot or whatever. And then Thor has one.
Which was very interesting.
And his is the only one that matters.
Yeah, because...
He's the only one that wants to know more about it, and everybody else is like, oh, I gotta forget this crap. But, speaking of this scene, it was supposed to have Tom Hiddleston in it.
Really?
Yeah, and this was another thing that Joss Whedon wanted to fight for. He told them that Loki seems like the kind of guy who would slip into a dream that's kind of prophetic and would maybe even guide Thor through it and just be like, oh, here's some crazy stuff that's going to happen. The end of times, the Ragnarok. Oh, it's coming. Here's me, Loki. I'm going to, follow me through the magical mystery tour. And Joss Whedon wanted him. He said, Loki's the guy to do it. And Tom Hiddleston he is awesome as Loki. So he would be great in this movie. And people want to see him. They want to see him snake his way onto a movie he doesn't belong on.
Yeah.
And he totally got cut out. And the reason was, originally his contract is for a set number of movies, just like everybody else. And if he's not set for Avengers Age of Ultron, so Marvel tells Joss Whedon, no, you can't do it. It's not in his contract. He's set for let's say 5 movies. He's already been in 3. We're not going to waste one of our movies with Tom Hiddleston on a cameo on this movie. So Joss says whatever, but he calls Tom Hiddleston up and says, hey, this is what I want to do. Are you up for this? And he's like, yeah, sure. He doesn't care. And so he'd have to sign a contract saying this won't count for one of his movies and all this other stuff. And he comes on set and they shoot the whole scene and then they just cut it out. Because they said it didn't fit as well, and they had him showing up twice in the movie, and then they cut that out early on scene, and then this Vision, they said no, we can't do it, don't have time, we're just gonna use Idris Elba. Let's have Heimdall because he has sight beyond sight or whatever, and although he's not a Thundercat, I realized what I said after I said it. He has the sight thing, which is why his eyes are all glowy or whatever. And, oh, son of Odin, you've failed us. You've damned us all to hell. And so there's well, you're going to use him because his contract is different, and so we can just use him and it won't matter.
Yeah.
Which, they did that with a bunch of these characters. They had Falcon, who showed up to talk about the missing persons case he's working on, which is clearly searching for Bucky / the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I loved how they showed all these characters. Falcon showed up a couple times. War Machine showed up, which was awesome.
Yeah, as War Machine, not Patriot.
Yeah, I know, that was terrible. But they have him in the party, doing his little tank story.
Which no one finds amusing, except the normal people.
Yeah, the normal people saw it, and I just laughed when, he's talking to Thor and Iron Man, and they're just like, oh, wait, that's it? Oh, well, then it's a great story. Thor clearly has better stories than throwing a tank back at a warlord. And so it's funny that an awesome story for War Machine is just a light chuckle for Thor. And Iron Man's just the same way. He's like, oh, yeah. I've stopped far worse than a tank. He blew one up in the first movie, so they just laugh it off. That whole party scene was awesome. They just and that was where Stan Lee shows up, does his little catchphrase that he does in all the Comic-Con panels, where he's like, Excelsior.
Drunk as well. Yeah,
well, I think he did serve in the military, and so, that just kind of he's just one of the war vets. They had a bunch of old war vets I'm assuming were Captain America's buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have those in the comics. Sometimes he goes and visits some of his old buddies, and he jokes because he's getting into a relationship with Janet, the Wasp, and or at least in the Ultimates, and most of his buddies are super old, and Bucky Barnes actually is old and marries his pre Frozen Captain America girlfriend. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure her name is Peggy, but it might not be. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, they have that awesome party scene, and then they even bring back War Machine in the final fight, which I really liked.
Yeah.
It was really cool to have him show up with the shield and just be like, yes, I love War Machine. He's so cool, and he fits in here. They didn't just use the original Avengers. They brought in auxiliary members, and it was cool. I would have been okay if Falcon showed up for that fight too, but, whatever. It was good enough with War Machine.
Yeah.
And so, let's talk about some of those action moments. What did you think of the action set pieces? The movie started off with one, inside that like wintry mountain outside of Sokovia. And then they did the boat scene, and they did the final fight. So, what did you think of the action set pieces?
The action set pieces were good. I thought they could have been a little better. I'm going to be that guy who's not original and say the best one was Iron Man and Hulk fight scene.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, that one is an incredible fight scene. Everything else, I just kind of like it was cool. It could have been better, though. And it's hard to explain what I mean by that, because now I know all the fight scenes and now I'm forgetting them, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that another problem that I have with the movie that will segue into this is I didn't get enough Ultron in the movie. I could have used more of the villain, and I feel like Ultron didn't have a lot of fight scenes. He had fight scenes, but we would always cut to something else. The first time they actually fight Ultron in that ship, he and Iron Man go flying about, and every time we see them about to do something, we cut back to the boat where we see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver mess with the other members of the Avengers, and I get that, but I want to see Ultron. Give me more of Ultron. Ultron be beaten easily. He didn't really seem that much of a threat, to be honest with you. So that's just how I feel about it. I'm not sure if that's what you were looking for as an answer, though.
Oh, well, I actually enjoyed all of the action pieces. The first one was pretty good, but, they took some warm breaks, and it was weird, but it still ended up pretty good, although Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, make really brief appearances, and then they just disappear, we can't fight them. But, oh, whatever. And then I loved the Hulkbuster fights. I like that they named the suit Veronica, because Bruce Banner's, one of his love interests is Betty. And so, obviously, the competition in the Archie comics for Betty would be Veronica. And so they named her Veronica. And I actually thought it did really well. I even like how the Hulk busts up one of the arms and more pieces fly off and give it the, jackhammer arm.
Yeah.
That was so funny when he, pins the Hulk down and just, repeatedly punches his face. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
See, unlike the other fight scenes, this fight scene, I was at the edge of my seat because I was concerned with, this fight is amazing. It's awesome. But it's doing so much damage to Wakanda right now. What about the other people? This is a dangerous fight.
No, that wasn't Wakanda they were in. That was just some South African city.
Oh, are we sure? Wakanda?
Positive, because Wakanda, they mention Wakanda in there because, that's where the vibranium comes from, and that's where Ulysses Klaue stole it from. But, no, Wakanda's protected and has this, tribal look about it. It actually has some futuristics on the inside, but it really looks tribal, and that was just an innocent city.
Okay. Well, still, it was danger. Now I was concerned, oh my gosh, and then when he finally drops the Hulk through the skyscraper and just destroys so much, I took a deep breath. I'm like, oh my goodness, all that work, all that outside of the fight scene, all that work that went into it, the collapse, the damage, the devastation. That was a really good fight scene, especially where the Hulk loses a tooth.
Oh yeah. That is awesome.
Tony's all scared. I'd be scared too. I was scared. I'm sorry.
Right? That'd be, yeah. And speaking of, Wakanda and all that, how was Andy Serkis as Ulysses Klaue? Was he just not an awesome guy? I freaking loved it. It was good to see him not covered in ping pong balls, I'm just saying he did a really good job, and I liked it. But yeah, the Hulkbuster fight definitely the best so far, just because he did an awesome they did an awesome job showing that up, and here's something I got to point out for the movie. Like, something that people said a lot about the Man of Steel was that Superman and Zod did not care, particularly Superman, who's trying to protect the human race or whatever, did not care about the collateral damage of his final fight. Like, they demolished Metropolis, which they said they'll get around to in Batman v Superman, but they demolished that city. And so in Age of Ultron, like in the final fight, they bring in the SHIELD helicarrier to save all of the civilians so that they can show that the Avengers care about saving people.
Yeah.
And they don't just care about just blowing up buildings.
Which I appreciated.
Yeah, Iron Man flies inside that one building during the final fight to save 3 people. And then in the Hulkbuster fight, he's flying around with Dash to him, and he just looks at this building that's under construction and says, how quickly can we buy this? And they're like, okay, it's ours, and bam, he just crashes into it.
See, I missed that. I totally missed that line. I didn't know. I missed it. Wow.
Yeah.
See, that makes me appreciate it even more with how concerned they are. Especially since he was trying to get the Hulk out of that city, and the Hulk was just having none of it.
Exactly, right? They did well with those fights. But it also kind of felt like, but this is just my opinion, that there was a lot of fight time. And not a lot of story development. Like, the most story development we got was on the Hawkeye farm, and even then, I don't know if it was the favorite scene, but it was still really cool, and I enjoyed it.
I love that farm scene. I'm glad it's in there.
Yeah.
I'll be one of those people and say it's in there. Especially, come on, Captain America ripped a log apart with his hands. Wow.
Yeah, well, and also that was about the only time that it kind of alluded to a civil war, because it was the only time that Captain America and Iron Man actually, like, kind of argued against each other.
Yeah.
Because, Captain America's really upset that Tony's been lying to him about, like, Ultron, and then later on when they create the Vision, and then Captain America says, oh, well, I don't trust a guy without a dark side, and that's when Captain America says, oh, well, you haven't seen mine yet. Like, oh, there we go, now you're gonna fight. But then at the end of the movie, they're like best friends. They're like, oh, well, I'm gonna go buy a farm for Pepper, and Cap's just like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stay here because this is my kind of thing. Which I actually enjoyed when they get on that ship in Africa to find Ultron and stop from getting vibranium. Ultron, like, just, takes a blow or a swing at Captain America with, God's chosen son, or whatever.
Yeah,
the man who pretends he can live without a war. And it's just like, oh, dang, you're right. Like, Captain America has no life if there's not someone to fight. If there's not a Red Skull or a Winter Soldier or a Hydra or an Ultron, he has nobody to fight, which actually might, be one of the things that leads up to the Civil War, is that Captain America has, achieved some level of peace, and he's just not satisfied with that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great burn from Ultron. I was like, oh, man. Those are fighting words.
What did you think about Ultron? Like, I love that they picked James Spader to voice him, because he has a menacing voice, but sometimes it felt like he was a little too human. Like, he had, sometimes it was a little too jovial, and like
I love that, because it's a person with, an android, I guess, for lack of a better word, with AI. It's its own being. So I totally loved how it was almost more human than it was machine, because that's what it was designed to do anyways, and how it took in all that knowledge from the internet. I loved Ultron. He was the best part in that entire movie, ask me. And that's why I wanted more of him, because I didn't get a lot of him. He was so interesting, because he was saying these human catch phrases and lines that I wonder, like, I wonder if he actually knows what that means and what it stands for and the significance of it. Because one of the scenes is where he gets caught quoting Tony Stark, thinking that's what he is. Like, oh, this is why. And then he says, no, Tony Stark says that, and he flips out.
And he rips off Claw's arm, which, leads to him getting his, mechanical arm, but that was just twisted.
It was good, but then that led me to believe, like, maybe he's saying a bunch of stuff that he doesn't even know what it is yet. Because, yeah, he's learning, he's more human, but he doesn't know everything. He pretends to know, well, he knows his plan, and he knows a lot of stuff, but there's a lot more meaning to words than just its standard initial meaning, right? It can mean a lot of things. And I wanted more of that. I wanted more developing of Ultron. I wanted him to come to his own character, which he kind of did at the end. He did see the error of his plan and what it meant, but he didn't care. He still wanted to go with it. So he had the option to redeem himself, but he didn't. He rejected it. Because even though he is becoming human and he's an AI, he has a mission that he was still designed to carry out. And I just found that very interesting. I loved him. I wanted more of him, and I didn't get a lot of him. I love his speech, but that's just me, if you ask me.
There you go. All right. Talk about some of the other characters. How did you feel they did with the twins, with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Did you...
They were underdeveloped.
Yeah, they didn't get a lot of time.
I don't blame them. I don't blame the actors. I think the actors were great. I think they did the best with the limited time they had. They annoyed the heck out of me as their characters, which is good because they were supposed to be annoying because they're wrecking this team that I like, you know? And they were great actors. They were just underdeveloped, and I'm kind of confused when I say this. I understand why, but I don't understand at the same time. I understand why they were underdeveloped. There's so many characters. There's so much going on. We got the main villain to worry about, but at the same time, these are characters that have their own movies. We totally know who they are. We're growing up with them. So how did we not have more time to show for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Or just Scarlet Witch, since Quicksilver was just going to die anyways. We could have just focused on mainly one of them. But they were good. I didn't mind them. I just wish they were more developed.
Yeah, well, and then, again, here's some heavy spoilers, but who cares? Quicksilver's death, they just introduced the character, and then they almost immediately after kill him off. I wasn't really sure what to think, because all of the rumors... Joss Whedon's famous for killing off characters. Everybody knows that. Anybody that knows Joss Whedon knows that. And so it was expected that they would kill somebody off, because these movies would not carry a lot of weight with them if the wars that the Avengers fought didn't have consequences. Yeah. So there was still a lot of destruction, although not on the Superman's neck-snapping level. And they killed Quicksilver, but do you think he's dead for sure?
Yeah. I don't think we'll be seeing him again.
I kind of agree. The whole time while he was slowly dying and using his catchphrase, "You didn't see that coming," that he kept snapping back and forth with Hawkeye, which just made these two characters seem like people who could not foresee things that were about to happen. Yeah. They kill him off, and the whole time I'm like, well, the time gem has yet to be revealed, and in some Infinity Stone stories, they use the time gem to revive characters killed. Or they could do what's it called, Tahiti Protocol. They did it with Agent Coulson from in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series. So he comes back to life after he dies in Avengers and is inside the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, leading the way. And at one point, they're talking about how they brought him back to life. And he says, right, but this protocol was not meant for a regular human being. It was meant for an Avenger should they fall in battle. So it seems like Nick Fury had this backup plan. And I realize S.H.I.E.L.D. was gone, but now it's maybe back. They didn't talk about it a lot the other day on...
I guarantee you it's back, especially with that small Avengers headquarters. I bet you that's like a small S.H.I.E.L.D.
It said that. It said the new S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters in the little subtext.
Okay.
But yeah, they said that was the plan that they had built up in case one of the Avengers were to die. And so I kind of feel like, they grabbed his body, so it's they didn't show a grave. So I feel like it's entirely possible they could bring him back, but at the same time, maybe not. If they do, they'll wait a while. When Joss Whedon chose the actor for that specific role, he said, hey, you need to be okay with the fact that we're going to kill you and keep you dead. And, you know, as his name, Aaron Taylor Johnson, was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it's just like, they knew they were going to do that, even though it seemed like they were leading up to a Hawkeye death.
I would go depressed. I was so happy that Hawkeye got more screen time in this movie.
They did a really good job with him.
Yeah, I love Hawkeye as a comic book character. I've even purchased a couple of his standalone comics, which I said they should have done them, and they did. So thank goodness they did. I'm glad they did more screen time. He was great, and when the way the scenes were shown and played out, it seemed like he was going to die. And then knowing Avenger comic book history, where he does die through a Skrull invasion, I thought, oh, well, they're not going to do a Skrull invasion, but he's definitely going to die because these scenes are so convincing, and he doesn't. Oh, man, I was so relieved. Well, I was like, oh, my gosh. Oh, I dodged a bullet.
Well, I'm pretty sure Fox has the rights to the Skrulls. Yeah. So that's...
I know they won't do it.
Yeah, so they won't do that. That's why they did Chitauri in the first Avengers instead of the Skrull, because they could use the Chitauri, and that's just another huge army. But that's another thing a lot of people pointed out, is that they just swapped out, you know, alien army for robot army in this one. Like, the Avengers are way too powerful for one villain to handle alone. Like, Ultron's one of their biggest baddies, and even Joss Whedon admitted it. Like, that's the one he wanted to do because he's so bad. But, like, he couldn't handle the Avengers on his own, so he had to, you know, make a robot army. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense, but they dispatch of the robots so easily. I mean, Hawkeye does it with a bow and arrow. Like, maybe do something where they all have to sit and fight and try all these different things repeatedly because Ultron is just that good. And then eventually they beat him. I mean, it required blasts from Iron Man, Thor, and the Soul Gem. No, it was the Mind Gem. The Mind Gem that's inside of Vision to, like, at least damage his body at the end when it was made of vibranium. But
I was so upset with that part. Take that back. I was annoyed. So I'm like, really? It's vibranium. It's just melted away, I guess.
A little bit. He was still, I mean, he couldn't fly very well, but he was damaged. Which, I mean, it has to be a destructible metal at the very least. I mean, if Cap's shield can be, and it has many times, you know, then it has to be a destroyable material. So, I mean, I kind of get it. But I want to talk for a minute about Vision. Like, he is my favorite Avenger. Like, I've read a lot of comics, and whenever he shows up, I get excited because he's a character that's created. He's not fully robot, but not fully human. So what do we call him? An android?
Yeah.
Or a, cyborg? Something like that. And so he has a human side to him, but at the same time, he's also a powerful robot. They showed his phasing abilities, which I was happy they showed, even if it was only for a few seconds. And it was only to destroy stuff. He, didn't fly through stuff. But, I can't nitpick too much. It's interesting that they put the Soul Gem, or the Mind Gem inside. I don't want to keep calling it the Soul Gem, dang. They put the Mind Gem in his head. So it makes me wonder if he needs it to survive, or not.
I bet you he needs it to survive. And I also am predicting, and if people pay attention, he's going to die when the last Avengers movie comes out. Thanos is definitely going to take that gem away, and
Well, yeah, he has to. I mean, It's called the Infinity Wars for, a reason. It's for the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet, and he needs it to complete them, so he's going to take that gem.
Exciting? I mean, Thanos taking the Mind Gem away and Vision be like, all right, cool. Or Thanos taking the Mind Gem away and Vision dying. What sounds more enticing? What sounds more epic?
Yeah, the him would carry more weight.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed the Vision being there. Paul Bettany did awesome. And
he looked great.
He looked incredible. It was a really well done job for the the special effects department. I like how he looks at Thor and sees that he has a cape, and everybody's assuming that that's why he created a cape. I mean, he has one in the comics anyways, but it's cool that he kind of looks at Thor and decides to make one. What did you think about him lifting the hammer? Like,
oh my gosh, that was my biggest jaw-dropping moment.
Because they had the whole cast. Everyone in the Avengers was like staring at him like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah, everyone in the cast, including in the movie theater. I was the loudest one that gasped when that happened because you don't expect it at all. I mean, we just pointed out at the very beginning that none of the Avengers could lift it, right? And then Thor puts down his hammer as they go talk to the Vision. We're lost in this speech, which is really interesting because we're learning who the Vision is, what is the Vision, what are the motives. This is an interesting character because it's kind of human, but also kind of robot. What is it? We don't know. That's why we're learning. And as we're learning who this character is, we see that he lifts up the hammer out of nowhere, and which is cool. Oh my gosh, he lifted the hammer. It's not because he's strong. It's because he's worthy. He's pure. We learned another thing about him just by that. Be like, oh my goodness, this person is like the ultimate.
Or is he? That's what everybody was. I've heard a lot of people talking about. Like, is he worthy? Does it matter? Is it because he has the mind gem, or is it because he was just barely made, and so he has no dark side or light side, and so the hammer doesn't recognize it, or because he's a robot?
Good. Those are all awesome things that's why I loved that scene. Not only is it like, oh my gosh, someone can lift the hammer. Why can the Vision lift the hammer? And all those things you just said about people speculating, that's what makes it great. We don't know, and I will bet you we will learn later as to why he was able to lift it. And if not, well, then that's a wasted opportunity.
They talk about it briefly at the end of the movie with Thor, Tony Stark, and Captain America, when they're just like, what if you put it in an elevator and press the button? Well, the elevator's not worthy. They joke about it, but yeah, I thought it was a little strange, but I didn't really care. I also like that he picked it up later in the final fight and like smashes some stuff and throws it back to Thor, and he's like, that thing is terribly well balanced. He's like, oh well, if it gets too heavy, it screws up your swing or whatever.
Yeah,
like that was awesome. The Vision, they did a very good job. I was satisfied with it. I could have used a little bit more time because they really just threw him in for that last maybe third of the movie, and even then they don't give him a lot of time, and they're just like, he shows up and says, hey, Ultron's going to do all this bad stuff. We need to stop him, or the end of the world's going to happen. And we need to stop this. And, I mean, it was also really weird, but I mean, Thor did have the visions where they just say, hey, we're just going to let the Vision have this mind gem, and it's safe with him. And if it's on our side for this fight, then, you know, that's awesome too.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I really enjoyed the movie.
It's a great movie. It's totally worth the money.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, guys, go see it. Hopefully they put a lot of these cut scenes in, you know, the scenes they cut out inside of the, you know, DVD Blu-ray release. That'd be awesome.
We can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, they won't do a director's cut, you know, because, well, they know we'd watch it. Or it'll screw up the continuity or something, but I would love to see one. But it probably won't happen. It did a good job setting up Phase 3, which it felt like that was, you know, half of its reason for existing. This movie was huge. It was long, although a minute shorter than the first Avengers, but they crammed it full of so much action and as much story as they could. For as many characters as they put in there, I feel they divided it evenly enough, even if the reason you went to see it was for the four big characters, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk. But yeah, it is weird. Some of the future stuff, like they sort of set up Civil War. They definitely set up Ragnarok. They didn't really set up Ant-Man, which is coming out in like 2 months.
Yeah, so I'm very interested how that will
play
art.
I know they have to mention the Age of Ultron events inside that movie. Like maybe Hank Pym will come forward and say that was my plan, and I have to stop this one from becoming another Ultron incident, because it is described in the original Avengers Age of Ultron synopsis or whatever that Tony Stark revives a dormant peacekeeping program, meaning that it existed before, and maybe he pulled it out of the dust from wherever Hank Pym buried it. But they also set up Black Panther by mentioning Wakanda and Ulysses Claw and, him getting his arm ripped off or whatever.
Yeah.
But real quick, I guess something to discuss a bit. Where do you think the Hulk is? Do you think he went into space?
No.
Or
no, that's ridiculous. Come on. Let's be real here. You think the Hulk is going to survive in space without an aircraft carrier?
Well, no, he was in the aircraft.
But the aircraft also crashed.
Well, they think it did.
He's not going to be.
They said the stealth tech makes it impossible to tell where it went, so maybe he flew off into space over the sea, and they don't know. Because he could show up in the next Guardians movie. That's what a lot of people are theorizing.
I don't think so. I think that ship that was, the Hulk was riding on is only meant for Earth, not space.
Because, in a lot of cases, they, mainly I'm thinking of maybe Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, or there's an old video game I've seen some people playing recently called Captain America and the Avengers. It's an old side-scrolling beat-em-up.
Yep, I played it.
Yeah, they use a Quinjet to fly into space there, and they even have a jet that in Planet Hulk that they use to send him into space.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
But the other problem is that Universal still owns a lot of the rights to the Hulk as a solo movie. So when they made The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, they had to share that, kind of like Marvel and Sony are doing with Spider-Man, I guess. And so it seems unlikely they'll make Planet Hulk movie, even though that'd be cool. Other people are just theorizing that he's hidden, and he'll probably show up in Infinity War Part 2.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I'll bet my PS3 on that.
Ooh, $150 system, huh? That's what you're gonna bet?
That's what I'm betting.
No, man.
It has games on it, too.
Oh, man. You're a dangerous individual, James.
I love to live dangerously. Thank you for watching it. I'm glad someone got it.
But all in all, I would definitely give this movie a, thumbs up. Buy it when it comes out. Go see it now. Go see it once. Go see it twice. Maybe I'll go see it 3 times. Who knows? It was a fun movie, and it's definitely worth your money. If you're a hardcore fan, you'll be like some of us and pick it a lot. There will be things you clearly find wrong with it, and that's fine. No movie is perfect. This one has not done as well in the review section as the first Avengers, but I feel like it was bound to happen. There was just no way this one could beat them actually becoming assembled. They were already a team from the get-go. But I did enjoy that, and I don't know. I'm excited to go see Ant-Man and see where the Phase 2 closes out.
I'm excited for Ant-Man. That Thomas the Train scene.
They've got a good set of cast members. I like the guy they picked to do Yellow Jacket, even if it's not Hank Pym as his who he becomes after he gives up the Ant-Man suit to Scott Lang. It's some other guy, but the actor they picked, he's really good. I liked him inside of The Strain, and he was even in that Liam Neeson movie Nonstop, and he's been in a few other shows, but the one I liked him the most in was The Strain. It's a good show, by the way. Go see it if you haven't. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope they close out Phase 2 with a bang. It's something that gets us excited for Civil War and Doctor Strange. I think
what I'm still waiting for?
Well, what?
Something with Spider-Man. I'm waiting. I need something. I don't care if it's Peter Parker.
Oh, they've already announced all that. Doctor Strange is the next one that comes out. So it's Captain America Civil War, and then next November is Doctor Strange. But on Spider-Man, he's coming out in 2017.
Yeah, we know. I want a mention of him existing already.
Oh, he will be in Captain America Civil War.
He better. Yeah. I'm saying he better. If not, that movie gets an F. Well,
they start filming in 2 months, I think. And so they got 2 months to pick a character. The guy they've got is, they've got like 5 people that they're picking. That they're trying to choose from. And the main one, what's his name? Butterfield? He was it's Asa Butterfield. There we go. He is 18. He is another British actor. He was in Ender. He was Ender in Ender's Game.
Oh, he was Ender.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I think he's great.
He's the top pick right now. Like, they've got a short list of 5 people, but he's like the number one. And so a lot of people are assuming he'll be it. Marvel has said they want to do 4 movies, 1 for each year that he's in high school. And so it would fall along the lines of like the Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's in high school for the most part. He does a good job fighting a lot of the villains all on his own. And Butterfield is 18, so he looks like he's younger than 18. So
this is perfect.
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to pull off a teenager look a lot better than Andrew Garfield or even Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire was never a teenager.
Well, he was in the first movie.
No,
they were
graduated.
Well, yeah, but
in the first 25 minutes of the movie.
Please, he was still a teenager.
And then went to college.
By U.S. law, you were a teenager until you're 21, so he was a teenager for quite possibly all 3 films.
Yeah, well, he wasn't in high school, though, is the thing.
Well, yeah, but,
And when you're 18, you're also considered an adult.
Oh, your mom's an adult.
She is an adult. She is.
But yeah, he's picked, so, well, he's not picked, but he's like the top pick, and hopefully he nails it, and they pick him for, I think he would do a pretty good job. He looks like a good
I'm
enough.
excited for that. I really am. I'm anticipating. They have no reason not to call this Ultimate Spider-Man. At all. When they make the movies, I don't want Spectacular or, let's see, what other name? No, just Spectacular. He better just be Ultimate Spider-Man. That would make so much sense. Little tip of the hat to all the people out there that know.
We'll see. I'm excited that they got Spider-Man to come back, and we'll definitely see him in
everyone wanted him to
in
come
Infinity
back.
Wars. Well, yeah, and Sony, they they made a smart move pushing to have him into this universe because they know it'll make a lot of money, and as for all we know, it'll be super successful and it'll be a great time. Let's hope. Yeah. Bam, there we go. Well, that's about it. That's all I really got. I mean, there's a ton to say about this movie. We could go 4 days.
True.
But I feel like we've said enough. We've definitely said go see it. It's totally worth it. And, yeah. I really don't have much else to say. What do you think?
I think we said everything. I think everything's good.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up then. Guys, if you want to get a hold of us, this will definitely be on YouTube, so you can post in the comments below. I also have a Twitter. It's @VaneDemise. You can get a hold of us there. We have a Facebook page, Mr. Vane Reviews. You can go there. It has a link to the website where you can leave comments, give us feedback, and you can also view all of the podcasts there if you aren't there already.
Yeah, please let us know that Harley Quinn isn't that great looking in this movie. I'll totally agree with you on that.
Let us know what you think. You can also, tell us what you think of the show and maybe some things you'd like to hear us talk about. We get these things in future episodes, and yeah, why not? All right, there we go. Well, that's it, everybody. We will see you next time.
Bye.